to commence business. At least 50 members of the National Assembly to be in the chambers this afternoon for the House to commence business, with a lot lined up for consideration this afternoon. On Standing Orders number 44, subsection 2C, Honorable Samuel Parashina, the Member of Parliament for Kajiado South, is set to seek a statement. The subject matter being the theft of safe box belonging to Mbirikani Group Ranch in Kajiado South Sub-County. This statement will be handled by the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Matters Administration and Internal Security. Well, similarly, pursuant to the same standing order, a statement that was sought by Honorable Brighton Yegon, the Honorable Member for Konoin, will be responded to today. This statement is in regards to discrepancies in tea farmers' bonuses in some parts of Rift Valley. The statement or the answers to that statement on the discrepancies in tea bonuses will be responded by the Committee on Matters Agriculture and Livestock. We await for the signal from the Sergeant at Arms to inform us that the House has attained quorum this afternoon and equally notify their counterparts in the chamber this afternoon to necessitate the House to commence business this afternoon. But away from that, the report of the extraordinary session of the 6th Pan-African Parliament PAP is a motion lined up for debate this afternoon. The National Police Service Commission Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 23 of the year 2024, is yet another matter in today's order paper for consideration. The quorum has been achieved. Allow me to hand you over back to the House.
Okay. They're from where? Global Health. Okay. Okay. Clerk, now we have quorum. Can you?
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I've got 2 pieces of communication. The first one is in relation to authenticity and admissibility of papers tabled by the member for Mukurweini. Honorable members, you recall that during the afternoon sitting of Wednesday, 20th November 2024, the Cabinet Secretary for Education appeared before the House to respond to questions asked by members. In that sitting, while asking a supplementary question to question number 096 of 2024, relating to the University of Nairobi, the member for Mukurweini, the Honorable John Kagusha, MP, made various claims on management and operational issues at the University of Nairobi. In line with the Standing Order 91, the Honorable Kagusha tabled copies of documents from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, the Commission for University Education, CUE, the University of Nairobi, UON, and the Pontifical Urbana University to substantiate the claims. Honorable members, I directed the clerk to examine the documents and advise on their authenticity and admissibility, and the clerk has since discharged that responsibility. In this regard, I have determined that the documents from the EACC and the Commission for University Education as submitted by the Honorable Kagusha are authentic, admissible, and now form part of the record of the House. I'll guide the House on the remaining documents once they are authenticated. Thank you. Is Kagusha in? Not yet. Honorable members, the second communication is on proposed amendments to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2024. Honorable members, before we proceed to the order on this matter, being the Committee of the whole House to consider the ethics, corruption, and Amendment Bill, National Assembly. I wish to make the following guidance relating to consideration of the proposed amendments to the said bill. So whoever, Deputy Speaker, will be chairing the Committee of the Whole, you take into account this communication. Members at the bar, take the nearest seats. The nearest seats, CNN. Kailemia, take the nearest seat. Okay. Honorable members, as you may have observed, the notices annexed to the supplementary order paper for the afternoon sitting contains several amendments that have been proposed to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2024. The amendments have been proposed by the leader of the majority party, the chairperson of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, the Honorable Carolo Mondi, MP, and the Honorable Shakil Shabir, MP. Honorable members, Standing Order 47.3 obligates the Speaker to exclude a motion from being debated or direct the amendment of a motion in an appropriate format where the motion either offends the Constitution, an act of Parliament, or the standing orders. The standing orders provide, and I quote, if the Speaker is of the opinion that any proposed motion, A, is one which infringes or the debate on which is likely to infringe any of these standing orders, or B, is contrary to the Constitution or an act of Parliament without expressly proposing appropriate amendment to the Constitution or the Act of Parliament, the Speaker may direct either that the motion is inadmissible or that notice of it cannot be given without such alteration as the Speaker may approve, or that the motion be referred to the relevant committee of the Assembly pursuant to Article 1142 of the Constitution. Honourable members, with respect to amendments proposed to a bill under consideration by the House, the Speaker is obligated to ensure that the bill under consideration by the House is insulated from any amendment or revision that may place it at odds with either a constitutional or statutory provision or violate the procedural prescriptions of the standing orders. Both I and my predecessors have ruled on the solemn duty outlined in Standing Orders 47.3. On several occasions, we have reiterated that a Speaker cannot fold his or her arms and preside over deliberations that may lead to an unconstitutional or absurd result. Additionally, we have also consistently ruled that the question of the constitutionality of a matter under consideration by the House should not be put to a vote. Honourable members, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2024, is one of the bills that were co-sponsored by the Leader of the Majority Party and the Leader of the Minority Party to actualize the recommendations of the National Dialogue Committee, NADCO. The bill seeks to amend the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Act, Cap 7H, to review the qualifications for appointment of the chairperson of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Clause 2 of the bill outlines the proposed new qualifications. Additionally, honourable members, Clause 3 of the bill saves the person currently serving as the EACC chairperson from the effect of the reviewed qualifications if the same are passed by the House. This is in keeping with the practice of this House when reviewing the provisions relating to the qualifications or terms of persons appointed to public office. Honourable members, in the order paper for this sitting, the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, JLAC, the Honourable Carole Omondi, MP, and the Honourable Shakil Shabir, MP, all propose amendments to delete Clause 3 of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Amendment Bill 2024, National Assembly Bill number 11 of 2024. The implication of their proposed amendment is that if the House were to pass the new qualifications contained in the bill, the qualifications would immediately apply to the current holder of the office. Honourable members, the proposed deletion of Clause 3 by the chairperson of JLAC, the Honourable Carole Omondi, and the Honourable Shakil Shabil flies directly in the face of the provisions of Article 250 of the Constitution on the composition, appointment, and terms of office of members of a commission or holders of independent offices. In particular, Article 253 of the Constitution provides that for a person to be appointed as a member of a commission or the holder of an independent office, such a person must have the specific qualifications required by this Constitution or national legislation. Honourable members, this House approved the appointment of the EACC chairperson based on the specific qualifications required by the Constitution and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Act, Cap 7H. It will therefore patently offend the Constitution for the House to contemplate amending the qualifications midstream and to subject a current office holder to a new qualifications without providing an appropriate saving or transitional provision. In this regard, therefore, honourable members, I have declined to approve the amendments proposed by the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, the Honourable Carole Omondi, MP, and the Honourable Shakil Shabir, MP, for the deletion of Clause 3 of the bill. I have approved the amendment proposed by the Leader of the Majority Party to Clause 3 of the bill for consideration by the Committee of the Whole House. The proposed amendment is in keeping with the requirement of the Constitution and the established practice of the House and as cited in this communication. This House is accordingly guided. Honourable George Best, I hope you have heard me.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've heard you, and partly I'm in agreement, partly as I'm entitled, I may not agree because of two reasons. Number one, the bill is not going to act in retrospect. The amendments will have to apply possibly to the next office holders, Number two is that we cannot take away accrued rights of an individual, especially in this instance, the person of the chairperson of the ESCC. That position has accrued to him in accordance with the act that is in force now, and any amendments would possibly not apply to him. But I'm bound by the chair, and I will abide by that ruling and observation by the chair, and it doesn't do any harm.
Even your words that you have said do not indicate any dissent.
Yes.
So you can take your seat.
Correct. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Avoid any situation of legislating people out of office when they have a contractual arrangement. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, November 27th, 2024, afternoon sitting. Reports of the Auditor General and Financial Statement for the years ended 30th June 2021, 30th June 2022, and 30th June 2023, and the certificates therein in respect of number 1, Giriftu Secondary School, 2, Makwa Boys Secondary School, 3, Nairobi Schools, and 4, Limuru Girls Secondary School. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to lay.
Chairperson, Public Petitions Committee, Nimrod.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 27th November 2024. Reports of the Public Petitions Committee on its considerations on number 1, Public Petition number 3 of 2023 by Mr. Amos Nyasani regarding the management of the standard gauge railway SGR services. Number 2, Public Petition number 31 of 2023 by the Honorable Ali Wario, MP, regarding a review of boundaries of the Tana Delta Irrigation Project. Number 3, in Keio North Constituency. Number 6, Mr. Speaker, Public Petition number 45 of 2023 by the Honorable Chiforomodo Mangale, MP, regarding delayed adjudication and settlement of residents of Kidomaya Miungoni Village in Vanga Ward, Kivengu sublocation. Mr. Speaker, number 7, Public Petition number 50 of 2023 by the Honorable Charles Onchonke, MP, regarding delayed payment of public pension by Kenya Railways Corporation. Public Petition number 82, that is number 8 of 2023 by the Honorable Badi Twali Badi, regarding the delay in the completion of the Jomvu Jitoni Rabai Road in Jomvu Sub-County. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, number 9, Public Petition CBAS and the health sector in the SLA. I would request to say the following. Honorable Speaker, in the beginning of this term, when the committee was formed, the Committee of Public Petitions, members were up to some point dissatisfied with the performance of the committee in generating the reports. But Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate your patience and advice to the committee, and also support, budgetary support and training programs to the members, and also qualified staff from the Parliamentary Service Commission who have been working with the committee to look into the petitions. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure members, before we proceed on the session this year, this committee will have no pending petition before the committee. All the other reports will be tabled next week, and by the start of next year, we will be starting with new petitions which are not yet brought to the House, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, and I beg to lay.
Well done, Nimrod. You are in focus for all the wrong reasons last time, and now you have done pretty well. Congratulations. Next, Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation. Is that, yes, Alpha?
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 27th November 2024. Report on the Departmental Committee of Communication, Innovation and Communication on its consideration of the Public Relations and the Communication Management Bill, National Assembly, Bill number 17 of 2024. Thank you.
Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning. Finance. Osoro, where is the chairman for Finance?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the members of the Finance Committee and the Honorable Chair are conducting public participation, Honorable Speaker, for the tax law amendment.
Okay, we'll stay that to tomorrow. Next order. Yes, Ruku. What is it?
Honorable Speaker, in October, I think on 2nd, I asked for a statement.
Order, Honorable Ruku. We have not reached statements.
Which has never been responded.
You only legitimately raise that point of order when we reach that order.
Okay. Thank you.
Next order. Before we call the next order, recognize a delegation from the gallery. The delegation comprises 6 members of staff from the Directorate of Hansard and Audio Services of the Parliament of Uganda, seated in the Speaker's Gallery. The delegation is on a 1-week benchmarking visit to the National Assembly. They are welcome to observe the proceedings of the National Assembly. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notice of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Right. Order number 7, we start with member for Uasin Gishu, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to make a general statement regarding the UN Women's Report on Statistics of Gender-Based Violence and Femicide in Kenya as we start and mark the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 43.1, I wish to make a general statement regarding the UN Women's Report on Statistics of Gender-Based Violence and Femicide in Kenya as we mark the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Honorable Speaker, the report states that the reports on femicides in 2023, global by UN Women and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, reveals that femicide remains pervasive, considering that every 10 minutes, one woman or girl is killed by an intimate partner or family member. In 2023, 85,000 women and girls were intentionally killed globally, and 60% of these femicides, totaling 51,000, were committed by intimate partner or family member. This means that an average of 140 women and girls worldwide die every day at the hands of a partner or a close relative. Honorable Speaker, closer home, the statistical data provided by the report alarmingly reveals that Africa recorded the highest rates of intimate partner and family-related femicide. In addition, the Kenya Bureau of National Statistics indicates that 45% of women aged 15 to 49 have experienced physical violence, and that the main perpetrators of such violence against the women are husbands and intimate partners. I repeat, 45% of women aged between 15 and 49 have experienced physical violence. This is attributed to the deeply rooted patriarchal systems within African societies that afford men undue authority over women in nearly every aspect of their life, from politics, economics, to social norms. Statistical data continues to show the prevalence of social tolerance for violence against women in Kenya, with 42% of women and 36% of men believing that a man can be justified for beating his wife or partner under certain circumstances. This highlights the urgent need to address gender-based violence and femicide in Kenya through a comprehensive approach that includes legal reforms, social change, and increased awareness and support services. We must all become champions of the campaign within our political, religious, and societal spheres to eradicate the negative social norms and attitudes that normalize gender-based violence. Honorable Speaker, a home is known to be a place of refuge, but approximately 80% of femicides take place within the confines of a home, while 12% of male homicides are perpetrated within the home. This therefore calls upon us to make our homes safe again for women and girls. Male leaders particularly must take up the role of ensuring such safety within their communities and to speak up against femicide. We need male voices. Honorable Speaker, despite the progress made in the recent years, significant obstacles continue to block the path of women leaders to parity with their male counterparts. A landmark survey by the Inter-Parliamentary Union revealed that 82% of women parliamentarians worldwide have been subjected to psychological violence in form of sexist remarks, threats, and harassment. Gender-based violence is not only physical. Technology-facilitated violence has become the order of the day. Social media is the main platform for this type of abuse, where women lawmakers have been reported to receive death threats, rape threats, assault, abduction threats, and even not only towards themselves, but towards their families. These acts produces another form of gender-based violence, psychological abuse. Honorable Speaker, Chapter 4 of the Constitution, which is in the Bill of Rights recognizes the rights and fundamental freedoms of citizens and guarantees equality and freedom from discrimination of any form, including sex. Furthermore, Article 27(3) of the Constitution provides that women and men have rights to equal treatment, including the right to equal opportunities in political, economic, cultural, and social spheres. Other legal frameworks include the Sexual Offences Act, Cap 63A, Victims Protection Act, Cap 79A, Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation, Cap 62, and Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act, Cap 79C, which are laws that are in place to protect the various rights of women. Despite such broad legislative framework, the issue of gender-based violence and femicide continues to increasingly become prevalent in our society. Honorable Speaker, therefore, as we mark the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, I wish to implore my colleagues to be voices of awareness through recruiting the local churches to be our voice, the local schools, local community meetings, and dedicate and persuade our schools to dedicate at least an hour a week to teach our children about this matter. Honorable Speaker, as I finish, allow me to use this platform to plead with my colleagues, including our male colleagues, to join this campaign. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Millie, you want to joyride on that? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Gladys Boshole for that general statement marking the 16 days of activism on gender-based violence. For those who do not know why we mark the 16 days, there are two incidences that inspired this. One was the killing of the Mirabal sisters by the Trujillo dictatorship, Mr. Speaker, because of politics. They were basically women who wanted a different governance, and they were shot and killed by the Trujillo dictatorship in the Dominican Republic. Mr. Speaker, the other one involved a case in Canada where a young man walked into an engineering class and shot dead women because they were undertaking engineering, which he considered a male subject. And Mr. Speaker, those may be in the extreme, but what we are experiencing is different forms of violence against women. And of course, when we are marking gender-based violence, it's not just about women, but it is both men and women, except that we realize and acknowledge that women are disproportionately affected. Whenever we raise these issues, people normally ask us, why do we keep talking about women? Even my deputy here has just challenged me and said, Millie, this week we are all talking about gender. In fact, I wanted to congratulate Honorable Esther Passaris for her commitment, because she has even been wearing orange.
Order, Millie. There's a point of order from Ruku.
Mr. Speaker, Miri, she is raising a very important...
Honorable Millie.
Honorable Miri, yes. She is raising a critical point, but you can see men are not listening. You can see Honorable Bui, Honorable CNN, Honorable Mwenje, they are busy discussing other issues. You know, and the issues of women are critical in our society. As the end of state said here, when this issue is being discussed here, Honorable Speaker, all men need to be attentive under the sun to see Honorable Bui and CNN very busy next to Honorable Miri,
yes,
when
Donya.
she is raising a critical point.
Honorable
Are they in order, Mr. Speaker?
Yes, Donya, get the mic first.
Is he a God to know what they are discussing? And is even mentioning the names, the electorates are listening, that their members of parliament are idle. Can he apologize, Mr. Speaker? How has he known what they were discussing? Yet they were saying they are discussing about women affairs, how they are promoting the bills, and how they are supporting our speaker in parliament. Can he withdraw and apologize?
Millie, go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can see Donya is a very good student and she has learned to be heard. You know, in my mother tongue we say loika or kumingat. Leadership is grabbed, it is not given. That is why my book is rig or be rigged. Because if you don't rig, you are going to be rigged. But that having said that, Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to pick on what Honorable Ruku has said, and I'm glad that he has brought attention to the male members. And I'm glad that it's brought especially to CNN. Honorable CNN, listen to me. Earlier today, we were talking about a member of parliament from Kiambu who said very derogative things about women, or is alleged to have said very derogative things about women. Mr. Speaker, I shared that on my page. And I hope the men in this house are listening. And don't blame women when you are not doing your roles. When I placed this on my page, Mr. Speaker, and I've also seen in the page of Honorable Mayaka, she has shared the same thing. Go and see what young men in their 20s are talking. Toxic. They are celebrating abuse of women, making women look like they are, objects, and actually allowing or encouraging abuse against women. And they are not old men. They are young men in their 20s. And we have been asking the women here that we are empowering young women. What happens to our boys? Can I empower young women, then I come and empower boys and you are in this house? The men in this house, empower the boys. They are going astray. You are raising toxic people in this country. And unless, no, it is not us. I want to tell Honorable Osoro, this is a very serious issue, Mr. Speaker. Unless we take this issue seriously, why would I call anybody Kadadi? But Mr. Speaker, at my age, I'm menopausal, I can't call anybody Kababa. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the men in this house need to understand, and I'm not taking this jokingly, our boys are going astray. Yes. I had said here, and Esther even said, that during that protest, they are sending us their private parts. A boy who is young enough to be my grandchild. What do I do? No. But us, at least the girls, we are mentoring them. You mentor the boys. Our boys are going off. Thank you, Honorable Gladys. Let me stop there, Mr. Speaker. And
thank you.
Yeah.
We'll end there on that. Yes, Kwenya. On the same issue?
Indeed, Mr. Speaker, I'll just allow me.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, this is a very important matter that has been brought to the attention of this House, and I really want to thank the Honorable Boss Sholei for the statement. But on the same, Mr. Speaker, issues to do with GBV are not squarely in the purview of our sisters and our ladies. It is a matter that is communal in terms of who should deal with these matters. And Mr. Speaker, I happen to be a father of girls, and indeed, it has come a time that we need to protect the gender that is endangered, that is women. Today we have predators in terms of men who will lure our girls, you know, with cheap stuff, cheap lies, and lead them to danger. And Mr. Speaker, I wish to appeal to every leader who is worth their salt that it has come to a time when we must take charge of our children, we must take charge of our women, we must take charge of our men as well, because we are all endangered. Yesterday, I was looking at some clip of the kind of violence that is meeting both genders, and I mean both genders, so to say. And I thought to myself, as much as we are talking about our women, our girls.
Be careful, some of those clips are AI generated.
Yes, either way, we must address the real issues so that then we arrest this issue of gender violence. And Mr. Speaker, I really support the statement, and I believe these 16 days of activism, we are going to be available in our constituencies to address our people and to bring them to speed as to the dangers that we are facing today. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. On the same issue? Yes, who is the member at the back? Karima Bishop.
Yes. Thank you, Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. The issue before us and the issue as it pertains to our boys and girls in Kenya and gender violence as it is, it should not be separated from the religious aspect of it altogether, because Kenya as a society is mainly a religious society. Over 70% are Christians, and the other, over 25% are Muslims, and then the rest other kind of religions. Speaker, as it is, for those young men and women who attended nursery schools in their churches, they have been mentally poisoned after they left their original backgrounds. And they have become bitter because from the one go, when we had a government before multi-party, there came a time when we used to promote only girls, whereby boys became jealousy of the situation. Everywhere, up to and including Meru, there are Moi, Mau and girls, Kapropita girls, Everywhere girls. Everywhere girls. We forgot about the boy child. Then there came activism. When it came to activism, things were slumped on us as a society, like Kenyan society. And we forgot our culture and background, whereby boys used to protect their sisters in all aspects of life. And they used to look upon them as their young mothers and future wives, whereby each used to feel obliged to protect a girl next to him, even when we were in primary schools. And now it comes that we are competing for the few resources which are there, and we have removed religion from the actual society which is existing. Like in this house, when it comes to debate issues, especially pertaining to parenthood, sexuality, and different genders, we talk and mention things which are not mentionable outside this house. And as for that, things are taken for granted outside. So violence is entrenched in our young men through adult utterances. And as for that, we must come out with the policies. We must come out as leaders. Every meeting we go, every area we go, as we are advocating for SHA and any other government policies, we should be advocating for the protection of girls in our society. Without that one, always, now and then, we are going to be having dumping bodies of young girls. And then the last one, we should consider what is ailing the society, that the girls are always being killed by young men and even old men. Why? The point is that there is that idea of whereby we are not trying to look at the cause of violence in a neutral way, so that at least we should advise our young men, boys and men, that girls are there to be protected. And then girls, what should be done to them? Mothers, you are not mentoring them around to be challenges to men. You should be mentoring them to be respecting one another. Out of that, the society is going to be coexisting in a peaceful way. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Kemei, 1 minute each.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank Honorable Pose for bringing in this statement as we campaign against gender-based violence. I stand, Honorable Speaker, to let us know that this is a monster. As much as we are concerned with economic improvement in this country, we should be concerned more about the social. I'm saying this, Honorable Speaker, because in Kericho County, as by March 2024, cases reported of gender-based violence is 936, which is actually very high, not forgetting even the teenage pregnancies of 5,448. Honorable Speaker, there's this lady who is now in hospital. The husband almost killing her because of what? Change of 336 shillings that she's not given it out. Another one was chopped off her ears. Reason the husband said, she's not listening to me, so I have to remove the ears so that I don't know how she will now listen. Honorable Speaker, the problem that we also have is...
Osoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also rise to support the statement by the Honorable Gladys Shore, Honorable Speaker. For me, Honorable Speaker, I look at this whole issue largely a morality issue that has been caused by poor parenting and sandwiched to mental health challenges. Because the frustrations out there, people are looking at places they can actually vent to or vent at. And the weaker sex, the weaker gender becomes now the easiest target, Honorable Speaker. But even as we say that, Honorable Speaker, we also need to...
Yes, Sholei.
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for this. Well, let me correct Honorable Osoro, who's also my student. Probably you forgot that part of the class. We are not the weaker sex. You see, that's how the bias begins. We may be weak in our muscles, but our muscles are in our brains, not in our hands like yours.
I so agree, Honorable Speaker. She just said that they may be weak in their muscles, and that's what I meant, that they are weak in their muscles. and I say that with tremendous respect to my teacher, the Honorable Boss Sholei. Honorable Speaker, it's also a societal challenge. The communal way of rectifying kids or young men and women when they are growing, Honorable Speaker, has changed, has shifted. People are now leaving parenting to churches, leaving parenting to teachers, leaving parenting to, social media. So it's really a big problem that needs a campaign. And I think this statement is timely. Within these 16 days, we need to tell people that parenting is personal. Talk to your kid and make them understand that you need to grow to be a right or upright person in the society. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Is that Kiamba? Or is the lady, your hair is so thick, I can't see your face. Who?
Ombaka.
Christine.
Yes, it is me.
Your hair is
Speaker.
covering your entire face.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I think gender-based violence has been with us for years, from time immemorial. And we thought that as we move on to years ahead of us, it should be eradicated. Traditionally, women were looked down upon, they were trodden on, they were beaten, insulted, and mistreated. They never had a chance to actually be included in any positions of leadership and so on. In a modern society, I thought modern men would have learned that women have a right to be protected. But you see young men who are supposed to be modern, who are educated, who are with the times, are the ones who are actually being perpetrators.
Your minute is over. Let's go to the next. Innocent Momanyi, member for Bobasi.
Mr. Speaker, the genesis of this matter was our culture.
I have given you an opportunity to make a request for your own statement.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to make a statement on the passing on of Honorable Andrew Nyananga Rosana, who was formerly a member of Parliament for Bobasi Machoge. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 259D2, I rise with a heavy heart to pay a glowing tribute to the late Honorable Andrew Nyananga Rosana, former Member of Parliament for the then Bobasi Machoge constituency between 1974 and 1979. Honorable Speaker, the late Honorable Andrew Nyananga Rosana passed away on Thursday, 19th November 2024, at the age of 85 years. His passing is a profound loss to his family, friends, and the community he served with unwavering dedication and commitment. The late Honorable Rosana was born on the 4th of August 1939. He will be remembered for his tireless efforts to improve the lives of his constituents through numerous transformative initiatives. Among his remarkable achievements was the initiation of the Kisii-Kilgoris Road project in 1978, which was completed in 1982 and greatly enhanced connectivity in the region. He also spearheaded the establishment of Ogembo and Nyamaje tea factories, fostering economic growth for tea farmers in the area. Additionally, the late Honorable Rosana was instrumental in the development of critical infrastructure, including Sameta water projects constructed by Isako Company, whose water tanks still stand as a testament to his vision. He also oversaw the construction of the Ria Rosana Bridge near the Nyamokenya area, a critical project that addressed the history of tragic accidents in the region. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Nyananga's passion for education was evident in his role in initiating several Harambee schools, many of which were later adopted by the government, which include Bishop Mugeni Nyakegogi Secondary, Nyagiki SDA, Nyamache Secondary School, Nyamawa High School, Yonseri High School, and the East Personal Project of Kenyerere High School, among others. Beyond his development contribution, Honorable Sana served diligently on the Catering Committee and Speakers Committee, demonstrating his commitment to Parliamentary Service Commission and national progress. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of this House, I extend our deepest condolences to the family of the late Honorable Rosana Nyananga, his friends, the people of Bobasi and the Machoge constituency, and the entire nation. As we mourn his loss, may we draw inspiration from his extraordinary life of service and dedication to humanity. May his soul rest in eternal peace, and may his family and loved ones find comfort in the indelible legacy he leaves behind. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And may you pass our collective condolences to the family of our departed former colleague. Honorable members, before we come back to continuation of statements, let's go to order number 8 and 9 so that we put the questions and then come back to the statements. Call out order number 8.
Order number 8, motion, report of the Committee of the Whole House on the Coffee Bill, Senate Bill number 10 of 2023, question to be put and third reading.
Honorable members, in the last evening sitting, the question was proposed. I now put the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. The mover.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Coffee Bill, Senate Bill number 10 of 2023, be now read at that time, and I also request the Honorable Dido Raso to second, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Raso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second.
Thank you. Order member for Trans Nzoia. Order member for Trans Nzoia. Take your seat. Take your seat. Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is that the Coffee Bill, Senate Bill number 10 of 2023, be now read a third time. I now put the question, and I confirm we have enough numbers to vote, which is that the Coffee Bill, Senate Bill number 10 of 2023, be now read a third time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the establishment of the Coffee Board of Kenya and the Coffee Research and Training Institute, the roles of the national and the county governments, the regulation, development, and promotion of the coffee industry, and for connected purposes.
Thank you, honorable members. For those of you who stayed until past 9 to pass this bill, honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 9, which is taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Social Protection in its report on the vetting of nominees for appointment as chairperson and as members of the National Gender and Equality Commission, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 26 November 2024, and pursuant to Article 250 of the Constitution, Section 11(7) of the National Gender and Equality Act, Cap 7K, and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of the following persons to the National Gender and Equality Commission. 1, Honorable Rehema Dida Jaldesa, Chairperson, and 2, Michael Nzomo Mbithuka, Member. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Call out also order number 10, Majority Leader. You let it be called out first.
Order number 10, special motion, consideration of nominees for appointment to the Salaries and Remuneration Commission.
Majority Leader, you had an application to make on this.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I wanted to beg for your indulgence to drop off this special motion number 10 on consideration of the nominees for SRC for reasons that I had discussed with you, and probably stand it down to sometime next week when the House will be ready to consider that motion. And therefore, beg your indulgence that we do drop that order number 10, or rather stand it down to sometime next week, as the House business may allocate time next week, whichever day they allocate us next week.
You are indulged, and the matter will appear before House Business Committee on Monday at midday for further consideration. Let's go back to statements. Samuel Parashina.
Thank you, Mr.
Member for Kajiado South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand for a request for a statement regarding theft of a safe box belonging to Imbirikani Group Branch in Kajiado South Sub-County. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of the Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding theft of a safe box belonging to Imbirikani Group Branch in Kajiado South Sub-County. Honorable Speaker, the Imbirikani Group Branch, located in the western part of Kajiado South constituency, was established in 1968 primarily to facilitate the transfer of ownership of Maasai lands from communal to private group property. The group branch also ran various initiatives, including the Predator Compensation Fund, PCF, a program for compensation of livestock owners for losses due to predators, thereby reducing the retaliatory killings of lions by affected residents. Unfortunately, on 24 August 2024, unknown individuals who purported to be police officers trespassed the Imbirikani Group Branch office at Paran Hotel and stole a safe box. Honorable Speaker, the stolen safe box contained and collected title deeds and other official documents critical to the roles played by the group branch in transferring land to its members. Although the matter was reported to Kimana Police Station under OOB number 14/24/08/2024, the authorities are yet to locate the safe box or recover its contents. Members of the group branch are apprehensive that they are likely to face the risk of the stolen title deeds being used for fraudulent transaction, exposing them to financial and legal vulnerabilities. It is therefore essential for the security agency to properly recover the safe box and its content to safeguard against such risk and secure ownership of the land. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1. A report on the investigation conducted, including whether any arrests have been made since the incident was reported by Imbirikani Group Branch to Kimana Police Station under OOB number 14/24/08/2024. 2. The measures being taken by the Ministry of Interior and National Administration to facilitate the recovery of the title deeds and other official documents belonging to Imbirikani Group Branch documents. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, Security. Raso, you are the Vice Chair.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Are you able to bring a response before we...
Mr. Speaker, the committee is sitting tomorrow at 1000 hours.
Okay.
I want Honorable Parashina to appear before the committee because it is about the interest of the people, which cannot wait until maybe February. So for that reason, on our own motion, we'll try to pursue.
If you don't respond by Friday, the question will collapse unless it's asked again when we resume. So, Honorable Parashina, appear before the committee tomorrow at 10.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
To prosecute your...
I will. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Do you want to be informed, Parashina, by the Deputy Speaker?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, just in the interest, allow me to give him some information, just to assist your people so that you're not worried that the title deeds are in wrong hands. Remember, the title is just, like showing that you're the owner, but the actual records at the lands office are the most important. So you should take that OB number report that you've taken and take it to the lands office so that it's entered in as a caveat, so that nobody can deal with that property as you wait to have the matter heard by the committee, so that at least you're mitigating any further losses and damage. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
That is free legal advice, Parashina. Yes, Tongoyo? Your Vice Chair has already spoken.
But something.
Go ahead. Give Tongoyo the mic.
So, Honorable Speaker,
It's back to where you're running from.
Honorable Speaker, as much as I want to agree on what the Vice and, of course, the advice of the Deputy Speaker, we had a very almost an 1 hour discussion with Parashina in my own office actually a few hours ago over the same issue. Mm-hmm. And we know Narok and Kajiado, we bother each other and even share some politics. And so I understand actually in depth what really transpired. And I did ask whether, of course, or also advise that you need to register the OB. And normally there is also the Gazette if the title deeds has gotten missed. Because it's no longer nothing, it's not really much about security per now. It's about missing of vital documents. So I really want also to support the position of the Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Yeah. Parashina umeelewa? Okay. Next, Mark Mwenje. Yes, Parashina.
Yeah. Something, sorry,
yes,
Mr. Speaker.
Sir.
Yeah, I agree with the advice given by Deputy Speaker, and I'll do that. But I really appreciate from the Honorable Dido because of the issue is very, very, very emotive on other documents. So I'll appear tomorrow 10, and I urge them or request the chairperson try to help us because the people, the public has been even doing demonstrations on roads. It's becoming insecurity in our place. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Mark Mwenje.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to request a statement regarding dismissal of our police constable, Mr. Joseph Wangondu Wamogonda. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the dismissal of Mr. Joseph Wangondu Wamogonda, a police constable of police force number 64064. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Joseph Wangondu was employed by the NPS as a police constable on 2nd May 1992 and deployed to the then Northern Frontier Province, where he worked for 5 years before being transferred to Jogoo Road Police Station. On 9th August 2000, while discharging his duties, he arrested a civilian who was impersonating a police officer working for the Alpha 5 Flying Squad. The suspect, together with his taxi driver, were arrested and booked under OB number 5/10/8/2000. Mr. Wangondu was later summoned by his superiors where he was interrogated regarding the arrest and later served with a waiver notice of disciplinary charge. Subsequently, Mr. Wangondu was charged with unlawful detention of a taxi driver and breaking out of a police line contrary to NPS regulations under OB number 8210/8/2000. He was later acquitted on 30th July 2002 due to lack of evidence. Following his acquittal, Mr. Wangondu appealed for reinstatement to the NPS on 17 December 2014 and subsequently on 19 February 2020, but NPS is yet to reinstate him. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. One, a detailed report on the circumstances that led to the arrest, prosecution and dismissal of Mr. Joseph Wangondu from NPS while undertaking lawful duties. Two, status of appeal for reinstatement to the service made by Joseph Wangondu on 17 December 2014 and on 19 February 2020 and the reasons for the inordinate delay in reinstating the officer. And finally, the relief measures being put in place, including payment of outstanding remuneration and compensation for Mr. Joseph Wangondu for the violation of his rights as guaranteed under Article 41 of the Constitution. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mark Mwenje. Tongoyo, when can you bring a response?
I will try, Honorable Speaker, Thursday next week.
Thursday, thank you. We have already put too many, Tongoyo, we have already allocated too many for Thursday. Do it on Friday morning, next Friday morning. Response to statement request by Doris Donya, Chair Agriculture and Livestock. Dr. Mutunga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have a response from the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development regarding the statement that the Honorable Doris Donya requested. Honorable Speaker, the statement had three parts. Let me be very sure. The response is structured in about three parts. The first part deals with the criteria used to determine the rate of annual bonuses paid to tea farmers across the different regions and factories in Kenya. In response, Honorable Speaker, the Ministry alludes that the tea bonus is a second payment to tea farmers, which is payable at the end of the financial year. Each month, the tea farmers are usually paid an initial amount of 25 shillings for tea factories in the tea block, in the East Tea Block, and 24 shillings for the tea factories in Kisii, Nyamira, and Nandi. 23 shillings for factories in Kericho, Bomet, Vihiga, and Trans Nzoia. This is usually an advance against the green leaf delivery, since the proceeds from the tea are only realized for 5 days from the delivery of green leaf to the factory due to the timeliness involved in processing and the sale activities. The bonus, therefore, which is the second payment, is therefore the net of the price realized minus the cost of production, including the monthly payments. The second payment is usually dependent on two factors. Number one is the price realized at the tea auction. The price realized at the auction is dependent on the quality of tea produced by each factory, which is dependent on many factors, including the quality of green leaf, that is the agronomical practices and tracking, post-harvest handling and manufacturing practices at the tea factory. In addition, the price of tea is also influenced by historical tea buyers, perceptions regarding the quality of tea produced by a specific tea factory. Other key factors include the prevailing demand and political situation in the markets and the effect of global economic shocks. So, Mr. Speaker, there is a large table which has different factory prices. I do not know whether, for the sake of members, I need to read. It's about 1.5 pages, Honorable Speaker, with the otherwise. Okay. Okay, Honorable Speaker, the second issue in determination of the payment or bonus is the cost of production. Cost of production also varies from factory to factory, depending on various factors such as transportation, cost to Mombasa, labor and administration costs, and that of energy. Factories with efficient machinery and operations are able to realize lower cost of production. This means that a factory which realizes a lower price and has a relatively higher cost of production will end up with lower net income and will therefore pay less bonus to the farmers. The third issue is the is a process involved in bonus determination. The T-bonus is usually calculated at the end of each financial year after all revenue and costs have been determined, financial statements prepared and audited by an external auditor. The financial statements are then presented to the factory boards for approval together with the proposed rate of bonus, subsequent to which the directors disseminate the same to the factory shareholders or growers. The second issue, in responding to the statement, is on the reasons behind the significant variations in bonus payment to tea farmers in the country. The response goes as follows. The disparities in bonus payment between different factories in the country is determined by the price realized at the tea auction and the cost of production. A summary of the bonus is paid in the year 2023-24 compared to the 2022-23 is shown in this table. And Mr. Honourable Speaker, I'll just give the average or the summaries. According to East Block, the first 4 factories, which are basically in Kiambu, are paid an average of, in the year 2023-24, they were paid 73 shillings per kilogram. And then the factories in, and if the previous year they were paying 62.7 shillings per kilogram. Factories in Muranga were paying an average of 81.5 shillings this year and 64.3 last year. Factories in Kirinyaga, factories in Nyeri were paid an average of 74 shillings and 40 cents this year and 64 shillings and 30 cents last year. Factories in Kirinyaga were paid an average of 77 shillings and 10 cents this year and 65 shillings and 50 cents last year. Factories in Embu were paid 84 shillings and 20 cents this year and 64 shillings and 20 cents last year. And factories in Meru were paid 76 shillings and 80 cents last year and 67 shillings this year they were paying 76 shillings and 80 cents, and last year they were paying 67 shillings. So East Block averages were such that the factories in East Block were paying an average of 78 shillings and 10 cents this year and 64 shillings and 80 cents last year. In Kericho County, last year they were paid 55 shillings and 10 cents, and this year 54 shillings and 90 cents. Factories in Kericho has 2 averages, the first average and the second average, where we have, I think this is Bomet, because I can see Mawashek, Kapkora, Chorus. These ones were paid 43 shillings this year and 51 shillings and 50 cents last year. Now, factories in Nyamira were last year paid, this year paid 54 shillings and last year 52 shillings and 30 cents. Factories in Kisi were paid 44 shillings and 30 cents last year, and this year they were paid 46 shillings and 60 cents. And the factories in Nandi, let me combine Nandi, Vihiga, and Trans Nzoia. They were paid 48 shillings and 80 cents last year, and this year they were paid 50 shillings and 90 cents. So on average, Honourable Speaker, factories to the east, to the west of Rift Valley were paid, or the Western Block tea growing area, were paid 65 shillings and 95 cents this year, and 59 shillings and 20 cents this year. So from the above analysis, it is apparent that the average total payment increased by 12% from an average of 52 shillings and 2 cents in the financial year 22-23 to 65 shillings and 95 cents in the financial year 23-24. Likewise, the total payment to farmers increased by 34% from 67 shillings and 67.6 billion in the year 2023-23 to 90.5 billion in the year 2023-24. Notably, due to the high volume of green leaf, farmers in some of the factories in the West Rift earned more income than those in the east of the Rift. So the third issue, Honourable Speaker, is the measures the ministry is taking, the measures that the ministry, through the relevant agencies such as Tea Board of Kenya and the Kenya Tea Development Agency, is taking to ensure that all tea farmers receive fair, uniform, and transparent bonuses based on their production levels. The response goes as follows. Tea factories within the west of Rift generally fetch lower prices compared to the ones in the east of the Rift Valley due to quality differential occasioned by the farmers' husbandry practices. In addition, the cost of production in various factories differs owing to the differences in the style of management and the oversight by various factory boards of directors. Most factories in the west of the Rift Valley also have loans for establishing satellite factories, which attracts high financial costs as compared to the factories in the east of the Rift Valley. Therefore, it is not possible to have uniform payment, but it is possible to reduce the gaps between the factories in the two regions. Cognizant of the differences in tea prices, the Tea Board of Kenya has initiated a strategic tea quality improvement program called STQIP, aimed at assisting tea factories with lowest tea quality to improve and meet the market requirements. The ministry has appointed a committee to develop a minimum standard on leaf quality, which once fully implemented will address most of the quality challenges affecting the tea factories in the Western Tea Block. Since green leaf quality is a key determinant factor to the quality of made tea, and which in turn determines the price of made tea offered by the buyers, Tea Board of Kenya, in collaboration with the counties, will continue to sensitize the farmers on green leaf quality standards. Other measures taken by the ministry include interventions aimed at reducing the cost of production at the farm level, which have been put in place in collaboration with the Kenya Tea Development Agency. Recently, KTDA MS, on behalf of all the smallholder tea farmers, imported 97,000 metric tons of fertilizer at a cost of 3,400 per 50 kilogram bag. To reduce the cost borne by the farmer to about 2,500 shillings per 50 kilogram bag of fertilizer, the government will allocate 2 billion shillings as fertilizer subsidy to the tea farmers. The government support on access to fertilizer at subsidized prices has continued to enhance productivity at the farm level and the quality of tea, and ultimately the earnings to the tea farmers as envisaged under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The fertilizer imported by KTDA is currently being distributed to the farmers and across tea growing areas. Finally, Honourable Speaker, there was the question of the timeline within which the ministry will address the disparity to ensure that tea farmers across the country are treated fairly. The response goes as follows. Development of a draft minimum standard on leaf quality is ongoing and is expected to be completed by November 2024, which is by the end of this month. However, for it to be enforced, it requires proper public participation as required by the Constitution. The ministry is therefore requesting the National Assembly to provide additional budget allocation to undertake public participation on guidelines, standards, and other regulations necessary to address most of the quality challenges facing tea farm factories in the West Tea Block. The Strategic Tea Quality Improvement Program is a 5-year program which have been ongoing for the last 2 years and is aimed at assisting tea factories with lowest tea quality to improve and meet the market requirements. The program has achieved notable milestones and some factories in the west of the Rift have gradually started making improvements in the quality of tea produced, such as the Mumu and Ogembo tea factories. The initiative on quality improvement program is expected to ensure factories manufacture tea of high quality that is discerned by the market. Once this is achieved, prices of the affected factories are expected to improve gradually within a period of 1 year, taking into account the market dynamics of supply and demand in the global market. I submit, Honourable Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is very peculiar for the committee to tell the Kisii community that because of historical tea buyers' perceptions, their bonuses are less. Perceptions. It's like saying there is the narrative that all African communities are wizards, they are night runners. Then you believe that perception. Giving an answer to the Kisii, Rift Valley, and Nyamira County that perceptions have made their farmers not to have good bonuses is an abuse to our farmers, Mr. Speaker. Then they're talking of the plucking. I'm not even a tea farmer, but I know from our neighbors, they are told, during the plucking, you pluck 2 leaves and a bud. It is even taught in schools. Then they are giving it as a reason why these people don't get good bonuses, Mr. Speaker. Really? Then you talk of political influence, as if in Kisii, in Rift Valley, we have intense politics. Well, an analyst can say Kenyan political scenes are more of the same. I take it back to the sender. This is half-baked answer. Have it back, please. It's not making any sense. Historical perceptions. That is what you are telling Kisii farmers. Really? No. Back to the sender.
Tunga, RTS.
Yes, Honourable Speaker, I will do the needful. But even as I do that, Honourable Speaker, I think it is important for the Honourable Member to realize that
What
it is not...
Mutunga, what you'll do, even listening to you, the answer raises more questions than answers. It doesn't make a lot of sense even to the speaker. Even I saw from your body language, you didn't seem to be convinced with what you are reading. Go back to the ministry and ask them to give you a better explanation.
I'll do exactly that.
Tea grown in the east of the Rift Valley and the west of the Rift Valley is Kenyan tea. And those explanations are not plausible. They are created by some bias that you need to address.
Yeah, Honourable Speaker, I'll do that.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, Kaluma.
Speaker, thank you. Honorable Kwenya Thuku has gone with my card, leaving his here instead.
Yes.
Thank you. Chair, this matter is not just limited to tea, but it cuts around all our cash crops. You go to coffee, you go to rice, even in terms of rice, the prices are varied across the country. So that what is happening is that people currently take rice cheaply from farmers in Homa Bay, for instance, at Oluch Kimira, and they go and sell them to the bulk handlers in the areas where the prices are high. I want to agree and emphasize the Speaker that as he goes back, we are looking at the major issue of harmonization of the prices and equality of treatment of all our farmers so that the produce are not just being shuffled by middlemen, but actually benefits all Kenyans equally. Thank you.
Sigai.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I am rising here as a tea farmer. A very small scale tea farm. Mr. Speaker, the statement given by the chair is below average, Mr. Speaker. Because what he's doing is giving the answer from KTDA. That's a script from KTDA. Mr. Speaker, I take my tea to Kapkatet and Mogosiek. We got 20 shillings as tea bonus in Mogosiek. And then somebody gets 56, 60 shillings in the eastern side. There is no justification whatsoever. And our people from the west have had a very low deal for a long time. We need some serious answer to tea farmers. Mr. Speaker, the issue, even one issue of tea tasting. Chair, Mr. Speaker, where somebody is tasting by mouth in the auction in Mombasa, and then he tells us that's high quality. We want a serious technological approach on how to taste tea. Mr. Speaker, we have a lot of problems. Our farmers are toiling. They go to the farm very early in the morning. They are rained on. And then they get a raw deal. Mr. Speaker, we can't accept. There must be an answer. We have a big problem, and my people are suffering in Sotik. And Chair, we need a better answer. If need be, Mr. Speaker, we need to probe. Get a probe of what's happening in KTDA. Otherwise, we'll continue suffering, and we cannot allow this thing to continue. Our people have been given a raw deal. And Chair, I agree with my colleague there that the answer should be thrown out. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, I would like to say that I come from Embu, and we have 3 factories that have always been ranked as among the factories producing among the best tea. Honorable Speaker, in the world we are in, quality really matters. And the quality of tea, Honorable Speaker, comes from usage of machines to do harvesting of tea, and the other ones that are done manually by people. Honorable Speaker, it is true that you find prices of tea in Embu is better than in some other places. And simply, Honorable Speaker, is about the quality of tea. The world is very competitive these days, and we cannot ignore that we need to raise the standards of what we are giving to the world so that we can get good tea. And Honorable Speaker, just to educate my colleagues, tea is actually plucked 2 leaves and a bud. When you use a machine, it normally cuts more than 5, more than 6, and Honorable Speaker, when it is that way, it cannot cost the same way. Honorable Speaker, there is something they are calling these days orthodox tea. And orthodox tea is actually getting among the best prices in the world these days. This is actually the tea that has only the bud, and it is well rolled up. Honorable Speaker, with machinery harvesting, it is hard to achieve the quality of tea that we get in Embu. Honorable Speaker, even our prices are going to continue getting better because we have a good campaign. We are doing a huge campaign of ensuring that we focus on quality of tea other than the quantity of tea. There has been a backlog of a number of months for tea that is not in the right grades from our friends from the East. But I would propose that they should engage the farmers and engage KTDA for what I would call civic education on better getting and fetching better prices of tea. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Cynthia.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I thought Honorable Donya had done justice to this statement, but it is not proper, Honorable Speaker, for Honorable Mukunji to bastardize the quality of tea from the other areas, Honorable Speaker. And he cannot insinuate that the other tea farmers in this country, apart from those from his constituency, know better about tea. Honorable Speaker, that is not proper. Honorable Speaker, my point is, was not actually on the tea itself, but on the colloquial manner that the executive is answering the statements that are raised by members of this House. Honorable Speaker, I have sat here several times. I have listened and heard the chairs of the respective committees respond to statements in this House. And Honorable Speaker, I can deduce from my very little and common knowledge that they are not taking it as seriously as they should be taken. Honorable Speaker, that response does not even qualify to come from a layman person who has no expertise in matters tea. And that executive, Honorable Speaker, must start taking this House seriously and give us proper answers, because we are not asking these questions just for the sake of asking them. We are asking them, Honorable Speaker, because we have real issues at home. In Nandi County, Honorable Speaker, we have large-scale tea farming. We have small-scale tea farming. The farmers in Nandi go on the streets every day because they go through a lot to get that tea to the factory. And then what do they earn? Petty peanuts here, Honorable Speaker, in the name of quality and standards. We all know the quality and the standards of tea, and they cannot be lying to us, Honorable Speaker. And they should take this civic education they keep referring to the village, so that those people can then take it up if they feel that that is the problem. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, the executive need to up their game and give us proper answers to the serious questions we ask in this House.
Member for Kishugu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I represent Geshogo, where we usually have two factories, Kemunye and Thumaita. And connected to the question that was asked by Honorable Donya, I also had asked some questions which were responded to, but actually they were also not very satisfactory. I want to agree with Honorable Member for Sotik that this is most likely a response that has been given by the KTDA to the CS, and there's no harm in doing that. But CS should do more to get proper information. Farmers are suffering, and KTDA has a tendency of reserving or keeping some money for farmers for unknown reasons. I think, without going to the detail, because we've already given direction to this matter, Honorable Speaker, the Committee on Agriculture needs to do something about KTDA, including a thorough probe on the activities that are happening at the KTDA. They are still exploiting farmers. These people are employed by the farmers, but it appears it's like they have employed the farmers. That is the direction to take, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Dr. Mutunga. Like I did say, your answer is far away from the mark, falls short of expectation, and avoid the stereotyping that is coming from Honorable Mukunji. That kind of stereotyping is not good for building a united Kenya. A tea farmer in Mount Elgon is the same as a tea farmer in Embu, is the same as a tea farmer in Sotik, in Nyamira, everywhere. Find a way, Dr. Mutunga, and I know how thorough you are, to create equity, fairness, and just returns for every farmer. And don't fall into the trap of Mukunji's stereotyping. And next, yes, I'll come to you, Honorable Ruku. Brighton Yagon, is he here? Yes, Mutunga?
Speaker, I have another response for the Honorable Brighton Yagon,
He's
which
not
I wish
here.
to lay on the table of the House.
Just lay it on the table. He's not here. Karemba, what is it?
Honorable Speaker, I just desire that you give me a moment to discuss about the tea, because I am a member of parliament from a tea growing constituency.
We have crossed that Rubicon.
By your powers, Honorable Speaker.
We have crossed the Rubicon. The judge has made a decision and dropped the gavel. Yes, Ruku?
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Ruku.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity.
On 18th of September, I requested for a statement to the committee, health committee, on the status of payment of the last expense and death gratuity to the survivors and beneficiaries of the National Health Insurance Fund and Public Service Superannuation Scheme. The chairman of the departmental committee, health departmental committee, agreed to give a report within 2 weeks.
Hold it, sorry, Ruku. Because he is a regular attendant, he's not here. I would prefer that you raise your issue when he's here so that he can give you a response. But if you want it to go on Hansard and he reads, I have no problem. If you want to raise it in his presence, we can do that tomorrow morning. You'll get a better response when you raise in his presence. And he's one of our most regular members.
Much obliged, Mr. Speaker.
Milemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this chance. Honorable Speaker, this House has severally stood for the Kenyans and many sectors in Kenya, including the teachers severally. Honorable Speaker, education is a very enormous sector. And Honorable Speaker, we want to thank the President that because of the need for employment of teachers, he has gone ahead to employ 56,000 teachers and now 20,000 interns, which will go to 76,000. But then, Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank this House because it did allocate about 1 billion, though small, for promotion of teachers. And Honorable Speaker, those promotion chances have been already advertised. Honorable Speaker, there is a circular from the Ministry of Finance or the Treasury CS, which has actually directed the Teacher Service Commission not to use funds which are within the Commission itself. These funds, Honorable Speaker, arise because of the fact that we have teachers who often leave the profession through to natural attrition, death, retirement, resigning, and those who leave the profession and many other ways. And usually these funds are put together and used to promote teachers or even employ new teachers given the needs in education, the high shortage of teachers that we have in the country, and also the interest of education itself, which is a sector that we are all the time guarding. Honorable Speaker, this circular in its section 25, clause 25 to be specific, has stopped the Commission from doing so. And the money is available. And the Commission does not need an exchequer or any new monies from the Treasury to promote a whopping 45,000 teachers if this circular is removed. And therefore, between promotion of 45,000 teachers in Kenya and not them being promoted is a circular from the Treasury. Honorable Speaker, it's upon that basis that I want to seek your indulgence, Honorable Speaker, and this House, that the CS and PS Treasury be actually called upon, either through the leader of government business or the chair education, to actually rescind on this circular. Because the need for teachers is need-based. As they leave, others need to come because there's continuous shortage in this area. That is my prayer, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Melly here? Naomi, you tell Melly to look at the Hansard and speak to this on Tuesday afternoon.
Honorable Speaker, I will do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go back to order number 5 and invite the Chairman, Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning. Yes, can he, you are on statement? On what issue? Let him lay his papers first.
Honorable Speaker.
Chairman, we are back to order 5. Go ahead.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, the 27th of November, 2024. Reports of the Departmental Committee on the Finance and National Planning in consideration of the following 2 bills. 1, the Unclaimed Financial Assets Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 15 of 2024, and the Kenya Revenue Authority Amendment Bill number 35 of 2024. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Go ahead and lay. Yes, Robert Mbui.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I seek your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, because we have just 1 week to the close of business of this House for this year. And we note that NGCDF and I think maybe GAF also have not received even the last batch of money that was supposed to be given for the last financial year, Mr. Speaker. We are already in the second quarter of the 2024-2025 financial year. Part of that money, Mr. Speaker, was actually meant to be used for the construction of the junior secondary school classes for grade 9. Mr. Speaker, I was thinking that with your indulgence and your support, because we've done this in the past, maybe we find a way of getting the Treasury to explain to us when this money will be availed to the constituencies so that these classes can be built in good time. Mr. Speaker, it's already we are actually halfway the next financial year and we don't have this money. And Mr. Speaker, I know in the next 1 week or so, we'll be discussing other revenue-raising measures. Mr. Speaker, it's important that the Treasury comes clean. The money they've already raised, why can they give it to CDF for us to construct classes so that the children can be in school in January without a problem? So, Mr. Speaker, I was just asking for your indulgence. You see a way by which you can help us. You've done it in the past, and it has helped us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Who is that, Malio? Is it Malio? Yes, Honorable Malio.
Speaker, I wanted to report on the disbursement of the last financial year's balances. I wanted to confirm that the money was disbursed to all the constituencies, all the balances of last financial year. So you can check in your...
Are you a member of the
Yes,
NGCDF
I am a member of that
committee.
Yes, and I can talk with authority because I'm a member of that committee.
Robert Mbui, your colleague there says he's spoken with a lot of authority. Yes, Mwenje?
Honorable Speaker, I want to, the Honorable Speaker, it's not good to disagree with colleagues, but I want to bring this to your attention, Honorable Speaker. Because previously I've engaged members of the CDF committee. And when they report that they've received, Honorable Speaker, it is the members of parliament of that committee who receive funds first. So we don't receive the rest of us. And we've confirmed that with our fund managers. Actually, I need to make that clear. The fund managers of those constituencies that are not represented in that committee are the ones who haven't received. So that response is inaccurate, and Honorable Speaker, I can confirm, because I spoke with my fund manager this morning, and he had not received a balance of about 13 million as of this morning. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Gogoyo?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for the interest of members that have not received, like myself, Kajiado North lacks 33 million, and up to this morning, I can confirm we have not received those monies. It could be that some members of the CDF committee have received. But, Mr. Speaker, your indulgence is needed for the sake of members who can confirm that they do not have the monies in their account, while the JSS classes, Mr. Speaker, remains a big headache, especially in a constituency that I come from, where we need about 78 classes before January for the grade 9.
Yes, Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me also echo the sentiments of Honorable Mbui that for the financial year 2024-2025, most constituencies have not received their funds, and probably this could be as a result that most constituencies might not have submitted their proposals for this financial year. So we need to also urge, I want to ask our fund managers, wherever they are, they need to make all efforts to ensure the proposals have been submitted in good time. Yeah, and for record purpose, Honorable Speaker, and I want to urge my members, you know we are in court in respect of NGCDF. At any given time, let's try to dissociate ourselves and talk about I have not received, we have not received, so that we remove this perception in the general public that CDF is an MP's money. It's good. It's good for the public to understand that we are just merely oversight, and we provide oversight, nothing else. And I want to confirm, Honorable Speaker, I've just spoken to the fund accounts manager for Funyula constituency, and he has confirmed the balance for financial year 2023-2024 was received early this week. So it's just a matter of efficiency of the fund accounts manager, which we as oversight members through the CDFC committees needs to put emphasis, ensure that the reports are accurate and updated. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Ferdinand Wanyonyi, on the same issue?
No, it's the same issue. I think I want to confirm that I've just talked to my constituency manager. Mr. Speaker, I think you better just help us to get this money. We are going for a long recess, and without CDF money on the account, I think we're going to have problems. So I request that maybe you get involved yourself, assist us get the CDF so that can be able to move. Because we are going to do nothing at home without CDF. And there are so many projects.
Honorable Mwalio, you purported to speak with authority. Has money been received by every constituency?
Speaker, I'm talking of 23-24 balances. All the money was wired by the Treasury to the board's account. And the money was wired last week to all the constituency, all the balances. So some of them, maybe if your proposal did not pass all of it, that's why you cannot receive the money. But also, 24-25, I'm not talking about 24-25. I'm talking about 23-24 financial year. All the balances are with the board. If you have not received your money, you will receive anytime soon.
What we will do, Honorable Mwalio, will transmit the Hansard on Robert Mbui's issue and tell your chairman, Musa Sirma, to make a statement on Monday on Monday morning sitting. If there is any difficult, Robert, then I'll make an intervention. Next order.
Order number 11, special motion, consideration of nominee for appointment as the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya.
Kimani, is that you? Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move that the approval of Mr. Gerard Nyaoma Arita as the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya be read a second time. Mr. Speaker, sir, Article 231 of the Constitution sets out the establishment of the Central Bank of Kenya, which is responsible for formulating monetary policies, promoting price stability.
Kimani, you know how to move a motion, don't you?
Oh, yes.
I beg to move the following motion. You read the motion as it appears on the order paper. Then you start your discourse.
My apologies, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the following special motion that take in consideration the findings of the Joint Committee on Finance and National Planning and the Senate Standing Committee of Finance and Budget in its report on the vetting of the nominee for appointment as the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, the 27th of November 2024, and passed on to Section 13B1 of the Central Bank of Kenya Act, Cap 491, and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act of 2011, that this House approves the appointment of one Mr. Gerard Nyaoma Arita as the second Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. So, Honorable Speaker, I rise to move that the approval of Mr. Gerard Nyaoma Arita as be approved by this House as the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, Article 231 of our Constitution sets out the establishment of the Central Bank of Kenya, which is responsible for formulating monetary policy, promoting price stability, issuing currency, and performing other functions conferred to it by an act of Parliament. The joint committees conducted the approval hearings of the nominee to ascertain his suitability in the role of the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. The Deputy Governor plays a very critical and pivotal role in ensuring that the institution fulfills its constitutional and statutory mandates. These responsibilities, Honourable Speaker, outlined under the Constitution of Kenya and the Central Bank of Kenya Act, Cap 491. They include, among others, the development and execution of monetary policies to maintain price stability and to promote sustainable economic growth, financial stability, bank supervision, ensuring efficiency in the payment systems, and supporting the governor in executing duties that may be assigned to the deputy governor. In determining the nominee's suitability, the committee considered the provisions on leadership and integrity as outlined in Chapter 6 of our Constitution. Also, the committees considered the nominee's academic qualifications, his employment record and work experience, membership to relevant professional associations, his roles in public office, his political activities and affiliations, potential conflict of interest, suitability to the position, his tax compliance obligations, and other thematic areas relevant to the duties and responsibilities of the jobbers that would be assigned to him if this House approves him, that of the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, having considered his suitability, the Joint Committee noted that the nominee is a Kenyan citizen and is not a citizen of any other country, and therefore meets the requirement of Article 78(1) of the Constitution. He demonstrated an aspiration for integrity in public service, and thus meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of our Constitution on leadership and integrity. After scrutiny of his education background, Honourable Speaker, after scrutiny of his background, academic credentials and professional qualifications, work and professional experience, personal integrity, as well as his performance during the approval hearing, the committees found the nominee possesses the relevant experience for the position of the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya, having served over 36 years in the banking and financial regulation, including playing pivotal roles such as that of Director of Banking Supervision, Financial Markets and Banking Services at the CBK of Kenya, in addition to being an alternative board member in several key boards in this country, Honourable Speaker. The nominee holds a master's degree in philosophy from the University of Cambridge in the United Kingdom and a bachelor's degree in art, Bachelor of Arts degree in economics from the University of Nairobi. He is a certified public accountant and a certified public secretary, certified through Kenya Accounting, through KASNEB, and is also an associate of the Kenya Institute of Bankers. Mr. Speaker, the nominee has over 36 years of experience across many sectors in the Central Bank of Kenya, including experience in payment systems, quality control, banking supervision, banking services, and financial markets. He stated that working in these sectors have equipped him with the skills and experience needed to be the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. Key to note, Honourable Speaker, is that this nominee, when M-Pesa was introduced in this country, it is this nominee, when playing his role at the Central Bank of Kenya, that gave a hearing to the investors that wanted to invest in the M-Pesa business in this country, Honourable Speaker, facilitated the insurance of the appropriate licenses. And we can say he's one of the people why we have such a robust mobile payment system, such as M-Pesa, one of the best, not just across Africa, but global, Speaker. Were it some other public servants who this idea came to them, Honourable Speaker, they may have been threatened because this was a new technology. They may have feared, they may have developed cold feet and not given such approvals. But his role in this revolution of mobile payment shows that he is such a visionary person and best suited to be the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. Honourable Speaker, you may remember the crisis that came with the collapse of Chase Bank, with the merger of National Bank and Spire Bank. Honourable Speaker, this is a nominee sitting at the Central Bank of Kenya in charge of bank supervision. that ensured that even though those challenges found in these banks, Honorable Speaker, there was minimal crash in the financial sector and minimal loss of Kenyans' deposits, Honorable Speaker. So this demonstrates someone who is able to work under pressure, is able to make a difference and work and has a revolutionary mind, Honorable Speaker, in making development in this country, Honorable Speaker. It's also inspiring that to see someone who joined the Central Bank of Kenya in the capacity of a management trainee as a very young man, rising through the ranks to become the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, sometimes when we pick individuals who have worked in other areas and place them into head of institutions, at the expense of officers who have diligently pursued through or gone through the ranks of that particular institution. Although it's good to bring diversity to an institution, but sometimes it demoralizes professionals in that particular institution that have worked hard and risen up the ranks, Honorable Speaker. So this is a clear demonstration that Kenyan systems work, that you can be employed as a young person and rise all the way up to become the position of the Deputy Speaker of the Republic, the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the nominee exhibited a clear understanding of the current issues that affected the Central Bank of Kenya, and he also shared practical strategies to address these particular issues. Additionally, he demonstrated a satisfactory understanding of the mandate of the Central Bank of Kenya, as well as an extensive knowledge in payment systems, monetary policy, risk-based supervision. Additionally, Speaker, the nominee emphasized adaptive regulated frameworks for emerging technologies like fintech, matters of digital currency, virtual assets, cryptocurrency, and blockchain technology, Speaker, and advocated for robust internal controls to prevent financial fraud. He also highlighted strategies to ensure effective monetary policy implementation and address challenges such as high non-performing loans in banks. The committees, Honorable Speaker, having held the approval hearings of the nominee regarding his suitability, observed that due process was followed in the nomination of the nominee in accordance with Article 153 of the Constitution as read together with Section 3 and 5 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act of 2011 and Section 12 of the Competition Authority Act of 2010. Honorable Speaker, the Joint Committee therefore recommends that this Honorable House approves the nomination of Mr. Gerard Nyaoma Arita as the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is therefore against this background that the approval of Mr. Gerard Arita is therefore before this Honorable House for consideration and adoption of the report by the Joint Committee of Finance and National Planning and the Standing Committee of Finance and Budget, that of the Senate. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move. Honorable Speaker, I beg to ask that Honorable Karoli Omondi to second.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Kimani, for giving me the opportunity. I just happen to have known this gentleman for quite some time. During my days at the university, he was slightly ahead of us. I think Gerald exhibits all the qualities that are required for a deputy central bank governor, especially at this particular time in the history of our country. If you look at his academic record, he had a first class in economics at the University of Nairobi. At the University of Nairobi. And then he proceeded to Cambridge, where he again graduated with a master's degree in philosophy and economics with distinction. There are very few people who can boast such record. Many years ago, I came across a gentleman called Tomik Konyimbi when we were recruiting somebody for membership of Land Commission. Tomik Konyimbi is the only student from Kenya in the history of Kenya who made transition from an undergraduate degree to a PhD without doing his master's degree at Cambridge. Why? Because he challenged a professor, and the contest was moderated by the Senate, and he was proved right in his theory. And they awarded him straight a PhD scholarship. Nyaoma Arita
has what we call deep domain knowledge of the central banking environment in this country. All his life he has been at that bank, working in several departments, banking supervision, financial sector, fintechs, policy, banking supervision. If there's somebody who can boast such deep domain knowledge, I am not sure you will go very far from him. And if you look at his experience and of course his presentation before the committee, you clearly can see somebody who is well suited for this job and very ably prepared to discharge the functions of the office of Deputy Governor. I strongly recommend this candidate and call upon this House to approve him so that we can have somebody who has both the academic credentials, the integrity, and the domain knowledge that is required for the job. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I propose the question that taking into consideration the findings of the Joint Committee of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning and the Senate Standing Committee on Finance and Budget in its report on the vetting of a nominee for appointment as the Deputy Governor of Central Bank of Kenya, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 27th November 2024, and pursuant to Section 13B, subsection 1 of the Central Bank Act, Chapter 491, and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House approves the appointment of Mr. Gerald Nyaoma Arita, the second Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. Is it the mood of the House that I put the question? Instructions are to ensure we complete these things up to committee. So who knows, we don't know. Who knows? Who are those who are moving? Honorable Mukunji, the speaker is on his feet. I'm putting the question. Yes. Honorable members, I put the question that taking into consideration the findings of the Joint Committee of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning and the Senate Standing Committee on the Finance and Budget in its report on the vetting of a nominee for appointment as the Deputy Governor of Central Bank of Kenya, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 27th November 2024, and pursuant to Section 13B, subsection 1 of the Central Bank Act, Chapter 491 of the Laws of Kenya, and Sections 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act of 2011, this House approves the appointment of Mr. Gerald Nyaoma Arita as the second Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 12, the Public Finance Management Amendment number 3 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2024, second reading.
Mover. The mover of the Public Finance Management Amendment. Yeah, Dr. Naomi Wako. Proceed.
Go ahead.
Dr. Naomi Wako, proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill number 3 Bill number 2024, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2024, be read the second time. The bill was read for a first time on 13th November 2024. I would like to thank the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning for a job well done. Honorable Speaker, Chapter 12 of the Constitution of Kenya emphasizes the principles and importance of public finance in ensuring equitable, transparent, and management of the country resources. Honorable Speaker, with that background, the Public Finance Management Amendment number 3, Bill 2024, seeks to amend the Public Finance Management Act to provide for financial management in the transfer of functions between Article 187 of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, with the foregoing, this bill is a key legislative instrument to enhance cooperation and efficiency between the two levels of government, meaning national and county government. Honorable Speaker, Clause 2 of the bill seeks to amend its principal act by inserting the following new part immediately after Section 183. This provides for the definition of county government, linked corporation, and invest. 186A, in this part, unless the context otherwise requires, transfer agreement means the agreement on transfer or delegation of powers, functions, or competencies as provided for under Section 26 of the Intergovernmental Relations Act. It speaks to the agreement on transfer or delegations of power, functions, or competencies. 186B, this part applies to transfer of functions as provided under Article 187 of the Constitution, transfer of functions and powers between 24 to 26 of the Intergovernmental Relations Act. 24, transfers and delegations of powers, functions, and competency. And 25, principles of transfer or delegations of powers, functions, and competency. And 26, agreement on transfer or delegation of powers, function, or competency. Honorable Speaker, members will agree with me that this is undoubtedly an essential aspect of devolution. 186C, this amendment applies to financing transferred functions. And it stipulates, number one, it stipulates that the transferred functions shall continue to be funded from previous sources as contained in the approved budget of the transferring level of government. Number 2A-B applies where there is need for additional financial resources for a transferred function. And number 3, it outlines the process of approval and disbursement of the additional financing resources in subsection 2 in the transfer of agreement between the two levels of government. Honorable Speaker, this protects against potential financing gap during the transfer process and guarantees the continuous provision and interrupted services for citizens during such transition. Again, 186D, this amendment addresses the cost of transferred functions. And number 1, it stipulates that the cost of the transferred functions as shall be based on the costing framework provided in the national and county government budget manuals. Number 2, it provides that the cost of transferred functions as determined under subsection 1 shall form the basis for the additional financial resources for the transferred functions. Number 3A-B addresses the additional financial resources for transferred functions in the case of county government and in the national government, clearly specifying appropriations in aid. Additional allocation and proceeds from loans and grants. Number 4, provides that the allocation under subsection 3 shall be included in the budget estimate of both the county and the national government and shall be submitted to Parliament and respective county assembly for approval. Honorable Speaker, this provision aims to regulate the distribution of resources and guarantee that the receiving government level has sufficient resources to conduct the transferred function. Number 186E, this amendment outlines the management of assets and liabilities. Number 1, it stipulates that transfer of agreement between 2 levels of government shall include a provision on acquisition, disposal, and transfer of assets and liabilities. Number 2, addresses management of assets acquired and liabilities incurred in the duration of the transfer of function to either level of government. Number 3, it outlines the process of transfer of assets and liabilities upon the expiry of the transfer period shall be in accordance with the transfer agreement or as may be prescribed by the Cabinet Secretary in regulations. Number 186, Article 186F, this amendment speaks to cash flow projection in relations to the transferred functions, whose projections shall be based on revenue projections from various sources of income. Subsection 1 and shall be published and publicized within 15 days of the commencement of transfer period. Subsection 2. Honorable Speaker, these clauses strengthen public finance management by guaranteeing responsible financial planning and implementation of transferred tasks. Article 186G, this amendment provides for quarterly and annual financial and non-financial report. Meaning, number 1, 2, obliges the accounting officers in county government in case of transfer from a national and county government, and the national government in case of transfer from county to national government, to submit quarterly and annual financial and non-financial reports to the controller of budget, the county treasury, and the responsible county government entity. Number 3, it stipulates that the copies of these reports be submitted to Senate and National Assembly, Auditor General, and respective county assembly. Honorable Speaker, I therefore urge honorable members to support this bill, contribute